learning English is extremely hard and exhausting. When I started studying English at 20, I thought English is one of the most complicated languages in the world because in the beginning, I had no idea how to study English effectively. So I struggled a lot to improve my English skills. But now looking back, I was totally wrong. I know it's hard for you guys to believe, but English is actually one of the easiest languages to learn. I'm not saying that you can get English skill without any effort or like you'll be able to speak English in 3 months or something. But in fact, most people think that English is complicated and extremely hard to learn, but I realized that learning other languages is much harder than you think because they have gender roles, like different grammars, like pronunciation. There's so many rules in grammars and like anything. I actually appreciate how straightforward English is. So in this video, I'm gonna share 4 reasons why studying English is actually easier than you think. It's all about your mindset. If you think you won't be able to speak English, you won't. But if you think you can, you will, actually. And I'm gonna change your perspective on learning English. Before we get into it, let me introduce myself. My name is Eddie. I started studying English when I was 20 years old. Before that, I had never been abroad. I had never taken an entrance exam. My life was all about baseball. In school, I didn't really focus on studying English. I started from zero, but I came to be able to speak English in 6 months. And since then, I can communicate with people. I studied abroad. I made many friends all over the world. I can talk to strangers on streets. I can make friends on streets. You know, for the rest of my life, I can spend time with speaking English. It's really great. It's super great. I'm really grateful for myself studying English and making an effort. I promise you that it is possible for everyone to speak English at any age because I could do it. If I could do it, you can do it too. Okay, I'm gonna tell you one thing. If you are struggling with studying English or you feel stuck or you're busy for work so you don't have time to study English, I made an English roadmap from zero to fluent. I really recommend this to watch it. So if you're interested in studying English, click the link below and you can get it for free. Okay, let's go with the first reason. One of the biggest advantages that we have is that English is everywhere. Like nowadays, there are so many people, like foreign people coming to Japan from other countries for like traveling or for working. There are many more opportunities to interact with foreign people in English. But if you can speak English, you can communicate with them. You don't have to speak someone's language. So for example, if you are talking to German people, you don't have to speak German. You speak English, and German people speak very good English. They don't speak Japanese, we speak English. How convenient is that? And guys, actually, you don't have to leave your country to get your English skills. You can do it in your own country. It is actually one of the biggest misconceptions that you will be able to speak English only if you go to English-speaking country. But that's not true. Because for me, in my case, I came to speak English when I was in Japan. Otherwise, it was almost impossible for me to be picked as an exchange student because only 3 people in university can go to Australia for studying abroad and as an exchange student. That's very limited number, but I got picked. It means I had an English interview. I had to speak English there. So, you know, I came to speak English when I was in Japan. But at the time, it was an era that almost everyone believed that you will be able to speak English only when you go to study abroad. We had less information contents about studying English at the time than now. But if we want to learn German, you better to go to Germany because there's not as much information and contents of German as English. So English learners are actually lucky. We already have enough sources to study English. And I really have many friends who went to study abroad and came back to Japan with no English skills. That's actually sad, but it is happening around the world, like especially Japanese people. They go to Australia or Canada or the United States for like working holiday visa or something to improve their English, and they go to English language school for like 3 months or something, and they start working at cafe or hotels or whatever, but it's very difficult to find a job there. So they ended up working at like, you know, doing dishes at the restaurant or something like that and cleaning stuff. So they don't have opportunities to speak English to people, and then they end up coming back to Japan with no English. That's happening a lot. This kind of situation is very common recently. So I want you to understand that there's a misconception that if you go to another country or other countries, there's 100% possible situation that you can speak English. That's not true. If you interact with the people or you put yourself out there and talk to people and you try to make as many opportunities as you can. Well, that's understandable. You go for it. You just go abroad because you're brave enough and like you are gonna be able to speak English. But you can actually study English and be able to speak English in Japan, in your country. It's so easy. You don't have to spend a lot of money to go abroad. You can do it in here, actually. And you know what? Online contents and products are improving so much nowadays. So you can buy digital products online and you can talk to people online. It's becoming so much easier to get access to English contents. And if I go to Google and search how to become fluent, and they came up. And also, some of the most popular books or movies or TV shows are made in English. You know, one time when I started studying English at 20, I was watching one of the TV shows in English. That is Friends. I really love Friends and I'm a big fan of Friends. And at the time, I was actually thinking how lucky I was to study English in this easy way because I can enjoy watching it and studying it at the same time. Not only movies and TVs, but also books. A lot of these stuff are in English. For me, I personally like more listening and speaking than reading. Something I did was pretty much focusing on listening and speaking. If you like reading, you go for it. You can just read books in English. Plus, if you want to find more specific genre, like how to study English, there are a bunch of videos about studying English, like online contents, like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and including my YouTube channel. I hope this video is best of the best. You know, I'm trying my best. You know, a big thing that a lot of us take for granted is that there are amazing English resources online because English is one of the most popular languages in the world. For example, when I was 22, that was when I was in Australia. I was going to college as an exchange and I took an Indonesian class. I was really struggling with studying Indonesian because all I could do was learning from the textbook, not like other contents, because there's much less contents in Indonesian compared to English. And the ones that are available was not good quality, it was not free and not entertaining. Okay, so now let's move to the second reason why studying English is actually easy. Back in the day, I was studying 3 other languages: Indonesian, little bit of French, and little bit of Chinese, just for fun. I didn't take it seriously. But English has one of the shortest alphabets. Pretend if it's Japanese, we have hiragana, katakana, and kanji. We have 3 different types of alphabets. It's very, very confusing actually. We also have keigo, which makes me feel stressed sometimes, even if I'm Japanese. It's actually much more complicated than English. English doesn't have those things. And that's one of the greatest things about English. You know, when you speak Japanese, you have to put always keigo at the end when you talk to older people. And something I like about speaking English is that I can talk to anybody with the same level. Like, of course, like I pay respect to people, but if you talk to kids or if you talk to adults, it doesn't matter. Just the language doesn't change. You can just talk normally. That's something I like about English. When I talk to people who study Japanese, they always say, why Japanese is so complicated? I don't think I can get Japanese skills. They keep saying that. And particularly for people who speak English as a first language, they struggle with studying Japanese because like they're not used to tone in Japanese. So in Japanese, we don't really have tones. You know, when you say konnichiwa, it's just a konnichiwa. There's no tone. But if they say konnichiwa in Japanese, they will be like konnichiwa, konnichiwa. There's specific tone, you know, and it's very hard for them to understand this. And growing up, we learned English in school. I think 99% of people know alphabets. And plus, lots of English speakers will understand broken English much better than other languages. I remember when I was taking Chinese class in college, I had an opportunity to talk to native Chinese people and I memorized some words and sentences and I tried to say it, but they didn't understand even a word of me. They were like, what the hell are you talking about? And I was like, wow. They didn't understand me. I was really shocked. The reason why they didn't understand me was I spoke broken Chinese. My pronunciation was not correct. My sentences were messed up, so they didn't understand me. But instead, when it comes to English, it's a world language, so people will understand you much better than other languages. Do you know how Indian people speak English? They have such a unique accent. Like I have a story. And when I was in Australia, I was living in a dorm and I had 3 roommates. One is American and one is Singaporean and one is Indian and me. It was a chaos. Like Singaporean and Indian, they both have specific like unique accent. So it was very hard for me to understand them in the beginning. In the middle of it, like I could like get too used to it, but in the beginning I was shut down. I didn't understand even a word. And so for example, my Singaporean friend said cold, and he says ko, and pronunciation sounds like cough, like you know. My Indian friends, oh, there's no chance to understand him. Like, oh my god, they don't pronounce R, you know. So it makes me confused. But surprisingly, my American friend understood 3 of us. He had no problem with that. And because they're native English speakers, so they're used to accents. So for example, we're Japanese and there are some foreigners trying to speak Japanese. We can kind of understand that because we're native Japanese speakers. So for native English speakers, broken English is no problem. That's the fact. So it took me a long time to get used to those accents, but that was actually interesting memory. Like many people in Japan are suggesting that pronunciation is very important. You should fix your pronunciation. And for me, I think that's true. I agree with that because more clear accents will get accepted, I think. People will understand you easily if you have right pronunciation. That's good. I didn't want to have strong Japanese accent. I still have an accent, I think. You know, I'm not native English speaker, but I'm trying to be American. I want to get American English. I have so many comments that like your pronunciation sucks, but it's okay. I'm working on it. You know, I never give up. I really want to fix my pronunciation. But it's because your pronunciation sucks. That doesn't mean your English is not good, okay? Your English is good because the main purpose of speaking English is that communication. You try to have communication with people all over the world. That's the main reason. You don't really have to care about it. If you're fine with the fact that everyone was teasing you because of your thick accent, you don't have to care about your accent. But in Japan, many people really care about accent. So if you don't like someone teasing you, maybe you better to fix it. I fixed it. But you know, everyone has accent, so there's no right English. Like American people have American accents, British people have British accent, Australian people have Australian accent. So there's no like right English. It really depends on you. If you have a specific accent that you want to try, maybe give it a shot. In other countries, people are not shy about speaking English with specific accent. Okay, let's move to another reason why speaking English is easier. It's because English grammar is simple. The biggest difference between English and Japanese is whether you say subject or not. So in Japanese, we won't say subject in many cases. For example, 今からショッピングに行ってくるよ. In this case, you're not implying you are actually going for shopping, but your parents will understand you. Your friends understand you, what you mean. But in English, people won't understand you because there's no subjects in the sentence. I'm gonna go shopping. I had lunch. So you always implied who did that. You need a subject to say. Many English learners in Japan, including myself in the beginning, we thought that putting the subject in the sentence always is very annoying and tiring. But actually, now I realize that this is so much easier than like without subject. It makes you understand so much easier because if there's no subject in the sentence, I wouldn't know where the sentence starts and ends. If I was a Japanese learner, I don't think I'll be able to understand Japanese people. It's too difficult. And if you get to the certain level, you're gonna notice that how easy English is and how simple English structure is. I really appreciate the English grammar. It's very nice. And another reason why speaking English is easier is we already know a lot of words in English. There are many katakana eigo people use nowadays, and particularly in business scene, people say like 今日のカンファレンスのアジェンダはクライアントのニーズを捉えたサジェストにしよう. See? 90% of words are English. I mean, I don't want to say katakana eigo is English. It's technically Japanese because it doesn't sound English. You know, the sound is completely different. But the word itself, it's coming from English. So we know a lot of like English words in daily life. And if you get used to katakana eigo, it leads you to the backlash of being able to speak English. But anyway, let's put it aside now. We know a lot of English vocabulary. The main misconception that people have is the lack of vocabulary. Like, I don't have enough vocabulary to talk to people. I have to learn vocabularies first. Yes, that's true. If you don't have any words, like, that's true. But if you studied English in school and if you had the opportunity to take the entrance exam, I think you already have enough words to talk to people. The only problem is that you can't use them. Something you have to do is that not learning vocabularies, you change the perspective. You try to use them. You know what? If I want to learn Korean, I have to learn from zero. Like I don't even know one word in Korean. But in English, you already know some words. It's so much easier than you think. Just the mindset. Oh, studying English is so hard, exhausting. No, actually, it's easy. Don't study in textbook. Just put yourself out and come up to people and talk to people. Actually, studying English is much easier than studying other languages. I think that's it for today. Again, if you feel stuck and if you don't have time to study English, or if you are struggling with studying English, I made an English roadmap from zero to fluent. So if you want to get it, click the link below. You can get it for free. If you are interested in my video, give me a like and please subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.